Hare Krishna, so welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. So today we'll be discussing the overview of Canto 5th to 8th. So last time we had completed the overview of four cantos, first four cantos, and at the end of the fourth canto, we discussed how Vidura, when he heard about the wonderful discussion which happened between Pracheta and the Naradas, Narad Muni and Prachetas, he became very happy and he became so much overwhelmed with gratitude for Narad Muni, for Maitreya, that he expressed his uh, gratitude, and then he said, I am so very grateful to you because you have enlightened me on this glorious topic of the discussion which happened between Narad Muni and the Prachetas. So Shukdev Goswami, so he said after this that I have finished the conversation about the descendants of the first son of Swayambhuva Manu, that is Uttanapad. And now I shall relate to you the activities of the descendants of Priyavrat, the second son of Swayambhuva Manu. So then he says, Sukadeva Goswami says that although Maharaj Priyavrat, he was engaged in learning various instructions from great sage Narada, he was a brahmachari living in the ashram of Narad Muni, but still he engaged in ruling the earth. And when after this, Vidura, he uh, continued his journey towards the Hastinapur. He started for his journey towards Hastinapur because he wanted to deliver his brother Dhritarashtra. So that was the end of the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called Sthanam. As we know, there are 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanamutayaha Manvantara Ishanukatha Nirodho Mukti and Ashraya. These are the 10 topics of Bhagavatam. So in the fifth canto, the sthana is described, that is the place of residence. So this canto begins with the description of the son of Swayambhu Manu, that is that is Priyavrat, and we know that Swayambhu Manu, he had 3 daughters and 2 sons. So all the daughters, their genealogical line is described in third and fourth canto, and also Uttanpad, his genealogical line was described in the fourth canto also. So the only person who was remaining is Priyavrat Maharaj. So now Shukdev Goswami, when he told that Priyavrat, although he was staying in the ashram of Narad Muni, he still engaged in household life. Parikshit Maharaj became inquisitive that how Priyavrat Maharaj, although he was a renounced person, still he remained in household life. And how did he achieve infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness? So, Chakravarti Thakur describes that, a person becomes entangled in the family life or in the materialistic world because of two reasons. One cause may be because of an offense to a Vaishnava, and other cause is the desire of the Lord. So in the case of Priyavrat Maharaj, it was not any offense on the part of Priyavrata, but Lord wanted to show the supreme devotion of Priyavrat Maharaj. That's why he engaged him in the household affairs. So when Shukdev Goswami he heard this, Parikshit, he continues the discussion. He says that when Priyavrat Maharaj, when Uttanapad he left, and all the descendants they were also not there. So Brahmaji, he started thinking that now there is nobody to rule, and actually Swayambhu Manu started thinking nobody is there to rule. So he went to his son Priyavrat to bring him back, and he was trying to persuade Priyavrat that you please come back because you are the only one who can rule this whole Bhumandala. But he was not ready to come back. Then Brahmaji himself comes and he says, "Oh Priyavrat, the desire of the Lord, the order of the Lord is undeniable. Nobody can deny the Lord, order of the Lord, and it is unavoidable. And don't think you will be entangled in the family life because a devotee is never affected by the household affairs." Because Prevrat is thinking, I am a renounced brahmachari, I am staying in an ashram, and you are telling me to enter family life again. I'll get entangled. Brahmaji says, no, a devotee is never bound. Bhayam pramattasya vaneshu api syad yatasya aste sahshat sapatnaha jitendriyasya atmarati budhasya grihashramam kimnu karoti avatya. A person who is self-controlled, intelligent, and satisfied, household affairs cannot disturb him. So therefore, O Priyavrat, please come back. And then ultimately Priyavrat agreed. He came back and he married daughter of Vishwakarma, that is Parhishmati, and from her he begot many sons, 10 sons, headed by Agnidra. And he married one more wife. From her he got 3 sons, Uttama, Raivata, and Tamasa. So these 3 sons became the Manus for 3rd, 4th, and 5th Manvantara. So then Shukdev Goswami describes the very wonderful rule and the activities of Priyavrat Maharaj. So Priyavrat, he was so very powerful that one day he was not satisfied by the movements of the sun because some parts of the world were not getting illuminated. He expanded himself when he became another sun. On his chariot, he constantly moved around Sumeru to give light all over the Bhumandal at all the times. That's how, when he was riding on his very great chariot, he created 7 islands and 7 oceans. And that became the 7 Dvipa of Bhumandala. Parikshit Maharaj, was surprised. How can, a person, ordinary living entity, do such a great activity? Parikshit Maharaj says, Shukdev Goswami says, the power of the devotee is not astonishing because he is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, Priyavrat Maharaj, he ruled for 110 crore years. In this way, he ruled for so many years. And then after that, he wanted to renounce his family. He gave all his kingdom to his sons, and then he entered the forest. He perfected his life. He went to Vaikuntha. So then it is described about Shukdev Goswami describes the story of his first son called Agnidra. Agnidra, by his nature, he was attached to various rituals, various fruitive activities. Therefore, he engaged in tapasya to please Brahmaji because he wanted to go to Pitri Loka and enjoy there. Brahmaji, he sent a beautiful apsara called Purvachitti, and he became very much attracted when this apsara, she came. And he described the beauty of Purvachitti in so many different words, and ultimately attracted Puruchitti and he married her and enjoyed with her for many thousands of years. And from Puruchitti, he begot 9 sons. And each of these 9 sons, they became the owners of the 9 uh, uh, Varshas of Jambudvipa. You know, Nabhi, Kimpurusha, Harivarsha, Ilavrata, Ramyaka, Hiranyamaya, Kuru, Bhadrashva, and Ketumal. So we'll see all these names, they are the names of the Varshas of Bhumandala, that is Jambudvipa. And then after giving all these children the various parts of the Bhumandala, Jambudvipa, he ultimately went to Pitriloka to enjoy there. And then one of the eldest sons of Agnidra was Nabhi. Nabhi, he was such a great devotee of the Lord. And he was praying to the Supreme Lord to get a son. Lord appeared and he said, "Oh my Lord, I want a son like you." Lord said, nobody can become like me. I will become your son. So Lord appeared as Rishabdev from the womb of the wife of Nabhi, that is Meru Devi. And Rishabdev, he had so very wonderful qualities. Seeing the beautiful son, the Supreme Lord himself, Nabhi, he became full of Vatsalya rasa. And he completely became absorbed in this rasa. He perfected his life. He went to the spiritual world. Rishabdev, he was a very exemplary person. He was the reservoir of all the wonderful qualities. Everybody in the kingdom, they liked Rishabdev. Rishabdev, he begot 100 sons. And out of those 100 sons, 81 became Brahmanas, 10 became Kshatriyas, and 9 became Mahabhagavatas or Navayogendras. The eldest of the 10 Kshatriyas was known as Bharata. So Rishabdev, once he was roaming and he reached Brahmavarta. At Brahmavarta, he taught his 100 sons and all the residents of that place about the various transcendental instructions. And very famous verses come in the 5th chapter of this 5th canto. Nayam deho deha bhajam loke kashtan kaman arhati vidbujhamye. So Rishabdev says, human form is not meant for enjoyment like hogs. The happiness is available everywhere. So therefore, human life should be spent for tapasya. And one can attain success in life by serving the devotees of the Lord. Mahat sevam dwaramahur vimukte tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam. If somebody is attached to the Vishayi or sense gratifier, he'll go to the lowest of the destinations. People in this world, they have become mad because they are engaging in constant sense gratification. Nunam pramattaha kurute vikarma. Therefore, an intelligent person does not take, shelter of these materialistic activities, because these activities, they bind a person, especially the relationship between man and women. Pumsa striya maituni bhavametat tayor mitha hridaya granthi mahut. The hard knot in the heart becomes very strong when somebody gets attracted to the opposite gender. So therefore, when one understands that, okay, I have to come out of it, then slowly he takes shelter of the devotees of the Lord, and then he can get liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, you have to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. Every person in this world should take care of the subordinates in such a way that they deliver their subordinates. Otherwise, they should not become the superiors. Either somebody is a guru or a father or a mother or son or anybody. Guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat. Namo chayedya samupeta mrityam. So that's how he instructed all his sons in very important instructions. And then he said, O my sons, please engage in service of your elder brother. And then he ruled the kingdom for a long time, and ultimately he retired from the family life and he started roaming around like a avadhuta. He would not wear anything, and sometimes people would think that he's a madman. They would threaten him, they would beat him, sometimes they would urinate and they would spit on him. Rishabdev was completely detached. He would not react, you know. Although Rishabdev, he had very beautiful bodily features, but he adopted Ajgar Vritti. Ajagar Vritti means he would not move from a place. He would sit, he would lie down at one place. He would eat there and he would pass stool and urine there itself. But the amazing part was the stool and the urine of this Rishabdev. It would, fill the entire area, 80 yojanas, 80 million miles, 80 miles with a fragrance, beautiful fragrance. Nobody can imitate such pastimes of Lord as Rishabdev. So therefore, Rishabdev, he neglected all the mystic powers. Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj asked, but why? Shukdev Goswami, Rishabdev is a supreme Lord himself. Why did he neglect the mystic powers? Shukdev Goswami answers that a transcendentalist should never ever trust the mind, because mind can cheat anytime. It is like an unchaste wife. A wife who is unchaste, she may kill the husband also under the influence of the paramour. And therefore, Shukdev Goswami describes that this Rishabdev, he would roam around in various places, and then at one point of time he entered the forest and he burned himself in the forest fire. And then he said, in the future there will be a king called Arhata. He will imitate the activities of Rishabdev. Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard all these beautiful personalities, Lord himself appearing as Rishabdev, he became little, morose. He said, I am not so fortunate, Lord did not appear in my dynasty. Just to encourage Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami says, Rajan Patir Guru Alam Bhavatam Yadunam Daivam Priya Kulpati Kwachaking Karova Astveva Manga Bhagavan Bhajatam Mukundo Muktim Dadati Karhichit Smana Bhakti Yogam. O my king, you are most fortunate. O Rajan, in your family, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself resided. He was your supreme worshipable Lord. Daivam, Kulpati, he was your master. Kocha Kinkarava, he became your servant also. Because you were such a great devotees of the Lord, he agreed to become controlled by you. Lord can give anything. Lord can give liberation also. But he does not give devotional service. But you all are such a great devotees that Lord gave you himself. So then Shukdev Goswami describes the very wonderful rule and the activities of Bharat Maharaj. So this Bharat Maharaj, he married daughter of Vishwarup called Panchajani, and he begot 5 sons. He would perform various sacrifices. But the consciousness of Bharat Maharaj was, when he would do these sacrifices, he would remember each and every limb of the Lord. Om Indraya Swaha, this Indra is the, this part of the Lord. Om Suryaya Swaha, eyes of the Lord. So that's how, although he was engaging in temporary materialistic karma kandi rituals, but he was not having that karma kandi consciousness. He was conscious of the Supreme Lord. In this way, Bharat Maharaj, he was so very powerful that the whole world, the whole Bhumandala became known as Bharata Varsha. In this way, he ruled this entire Bhumandala for entire, Ilavrata Varsha for 1 crore years. And after that, He wanted to renounce from his family life. He gave up the family life just like a person after passing stool does not even look at it. And then he went to Pulaha ashram and he performed severe penances to please the Supreme Lord. He stayed alone, he worshipped Shaligram Shila, he would just survive on the fruits and the roots. That's how he actually attained the Bhava stage. One day, as Bharat Maharaj was doing his daily rituals, he saw that there was a pregnant deer. As she was trying to cross the river, a tiger roared, and because of that she became so very fearful. She you know got miscarriage and the small baby deer fell in the water. The mother landed on the other side and she died. Bharat Maharaj, he became so very compassionate. He brought the small deer back at his ashram and started taking care of him, thinking that, oh, he has nobody to take care of, just like a compassionate Vaishnava. But ultimately, he became so very attached to this deer, he forgot. He started neglecting all his daily rituals. He completely became distracted to such an extent that one day, deer did not come back from the forest. He started roaming and searching for the deer. Ultimately, by the providence will of time, he was dying. As he was dying, he remembered the deer. And because of this remembrance, at the last moment of death, he became deer in the next life. So that is the power of, thought. That the power of the thought which one has at the last moment of life. So therefore, Prabhupada and all the acharyas, they very much focus on how we have to cultivate the thoughts which are favorable for remembering Krishna at the last moment. And this shows that if somebody is not attentive, even at the level of bhav, from that also one can fall down. But as deer, because this Bharat Maharaj, he was such a great devotee, as deer also he remembered his past life. He was very careful in the body of deer and he did not associate with other deers. Ultimately, he left his body as a deer and got a body of Jad Bharat. Jad Bharat, he was such a great personality, but he did not show his features, his supreme devotion, his supreme character to people of the world, thinking that he would become entangled again. His relatives and brothers, they would mistreat him and they would not give him proper food. One day, he was, guarding the fields. A group of dacoits, they captured him and they actually was about to kill Jad Bharat. They brought him to a temple of goddess Kali. Goddess Kali, when she saw the great devotee of Lord being tortured in this way, she personally came out, broke apart the deity, came out and killed all the dacoits. One day, King Rahugana, he was going to other place and they needed one extra bearer for the palanquin. They found this Jad Bharat. Looked very strong, so they employed him. But Jad Bharat, because he was so very compassionate, he was, taking care of every ant which was there. And that's why he was sometimes stopping. King became very angry. Rahugana criticized Jad Bharat that, what do you think? You are under my control and you are not behaving properly. And he criticized him in so many words. Hearing the criticism of Rahugana, Jad Bharat, he remained silent. But still, second time the same thing happened. And again Rahugana criticized Jad Bharat. This time Jad Bharat, he gave very nice philosophical reply to Rahugana. You are saying I am fatigued, but soul never gets fatigued. But soul appears fatigued because, Rahugana may say, but soul appears fatigued because of bodily labor. Rahugana had said that you are old. I think you are not strong. Jad Bharat says, yes, soul is eternal, it is oldest, but all the qualities of the body do not apply to the soul. In this way, so many instructions Jad Bharat gave to Rahugana. Rahugana realized that this is not an ordinary personality. He surrendered to Jad Bharat and he said, O Brahmana, I do not fear anybody. I just fear offending Brahmanas. Naham vishanke shuraraj vajran natyarksha shulan nayamasya dandat nagnarka soma nilavitra pastra shanke bhrisham brahma kulavananat. And then he surrendered himself and pleaded with Jad Bharat that please instruct me. Jad Bharat instructed Rahugana how this soul is not is different from the body, and if somebody is entangled in the fruitive activities, the mind becomes contaminated, and contaminated mind is the cause of entanglement. Only by the process of bhakti one can conquer. Therefore, O Rahugana, only by the process of devotional service one can attain the Supreme Lord. Only by serving the devotees of the Lord one can attain the Supreme Lord. And then he explains the uh, very wonderful story, allegorical story of the forest of material enjoyment. How a person, he enters this forest of material enjoyment, a living entity, tries to enjoy, but in the course of enjoying, he becomes so very entangled in it. And the only process by which one can come out of this entanglement is taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. And hearing all these wonderful instructions, Rahugana, he became so very happy. He expressed his gratitude. He said, "O great sage, I have become blessed. Only by your mercy I could get all this wonderful knowledge. Nahi adbhutam tva charanabja renubhir hatam haso bhakti radhoksha jemala mahurtikadyasya samagamachame dushtarkamulo apahato avivekah." Just by the moment of association of great personalities, one can get liberated from this material existence. And then Rahugana left and Jad Bharat went on his way. Then after this, Shukdev Goswami describes the glories of the various descendants of Priyavrat Maharaj, and one of the personalities whom he describes in detail is Gaya. And then after this, Shukdev Goswami, he becomes silent. Parikshit Maharaji says that, I have heard you spoke that, Priyavrat Maharaj, when he was encircling this Sumeru, he created ditches and the oceans and the mountains. So please tell me about the measurements of Bhumandal. So Shukdev Goswami describes how Priyavrat, he made the oceans and the islands, which became the 7 islands of Bhumandala. This Bhumandala is in the shape of a lotus flower. In the middle of this Bhumandala is Sumeru mountain. It is like the whirl of the lotus. It is a golden mountain. And all the 7 islands, they are surrounded by 7 different oceans. And then Shukdev Goswami describes in detail about the measurements of the various mountains which are separating the 9 varshas of the innermost island, that is Jambu Dvipa. And then he describes about the Sumeru mountain, that this Sumeru mountain is 0.1 million yojanas in height. And out of this 0.1 million, 84,000 is above the ground and 16,000 yojanas is below the ground. This Sumeru mountain is surrounded by a pencil-like mountains all around. These are called Kesarachal mountains. And then he describes the dimensions of each of the varshas of Jambu Dvipa. And then he zooms in and describes the various mountains and the rivers which are there in the middlemost varsha of the Jambu Dvipa, that is Ilavrata Varsha. He describes that in this Ilavrata Varsha, there are 4 mountains surrounding this Meru. surrounding this Sumeru, that is Meru Mandar, Suparshva, Kumud, and Mandar. And it describes various characteristics of these mountains. He says on the top of this Meru mountain, there is a city, and in that place, there are the palaces of 8 Lokpals. In the middle, there is a palace of Brahmaji. On top of this Sumeru mountain, Mother Ganga falls and then divides into 4 parts and then goes to various uh, parts of this Jambu Dvipa. And then ultimately he describes that the 9 Varshas of Jambu Dvipa, they have some key rulers and they have the presiding deity. Just like Ilavrata Varsha, the key inhabitant is Lord Shiva. He is worshipping Sankarshana. And then he describes that in every Varsha, there are the inhabitants who are offering prayers to the presiding deity of that Varsha. The presiding deity of Kuru Varsha is Varahadev. Presiding deity of Hiranmaya Varsha is Kurma. In this way, beautiful, beautiful prayers of all these inhabitants, they come. And ultimately, the Bharat Varsha glories of Bharat Varsha is described. The demigods, they say, we have attained such a high birth in heaven. But there is one problem here. We cannot remember Supreme Lord because of too much of sense gratification. People in this world, they are so very fortunate if they take birth in Bharat Varsha. Even a moment of birth in Bharat Varsha is much higher than the birth in the heavenly planets. And therefore, they say devotees of the Lord, they are only interested in glorifying the Lord. They do not want to go to any other place apart from the place where Krishna Katha is going on. Nayatra Vaikuntha Katha Sudhapaga Nasadhavo Bhagavatas Nayatra Yagyesha Makha Mahotsava Suresha Loko Pinavaisha Sevyatam. And then he says, Supreme Lord is so very wonderful, even if he gives even if he gives some material benedictions to his devotees, if the devotee wants some material benedictions, Lord gives. But he gives in such a way that the devotee will not ask for the same thing again. Naivartha doyat punar arthitam yataha. And then after this, Shukdev Goswami describes that, surrounding this Jambu Dvipa, there are 8 more islands. One of the islands is Lanka. Other island is the place where our Kalia resides, that is Ramanaka Island. And then he describes about this structure of the all Bhumandala, whole Bhumandala, the various islands and the various oceans of the Bhumandala is described by Shukdev Goswami. The middlemost is the Jambu Dvipa. Surrounded by that is Plaksha, then Shalmali, then Kusha, then Krauncha, Shaka, and Pushkara Dvip. The various characteristics of all these planets are described. And then he describes the movements of the sun and the higher planetary systems. And then he describes the subterranean planetary systems also. All the lower planetary systems are described by Shukdev Goswami. He describes about the Shishumar planetary system. And then he says, that the lower planetary systems, they are the holes in the Bhumandala. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patal. These are called subterranean heavens or Swarga, Bila Swarga, because there are no attacks of any other personalities there. The inhabitants there are enjoying even more than heavenly planets. Shukdev Goswami describes about each and every planet. Especially he describes about Sutala. In Sutala, Bali Maharaj is residing with Vamanadev. And then he describes about the glories of Anantashesh, who is holding the whole Bhumandala. Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj asks a question. Why are the living entities put into different material situations? Shukdev Goswami says, this is based on the faith a personality has, based on the action a person does. And then he describes there are people who perform sinful activities. They go to hellish planets. He describes the 28 types of hellish planets which are there and who all people go there. This is the end of the fifth canto. And then, sixth canto is entitled as Poshanam. When Parikshit Maharaj heard about the suffering which a person undergoes in the hellish situation, Parikshit Maharaj, being a compassionate Vaishnava, he asks, Adhuneham ha bhaga yathaiva narakan narah nanograyat naneyat tanme vyakhyatum arhasi. He says, oh great sage, please tell me how these personalities may be saved from these hellish situations. Shukdev Goswami, he tests his disciple. He says, one can come out of it by karma kandi atonement, you know. But Parikshit Maharaj says, no, this is not the right way. This is like an elephant bath. Elephant goes to the river, takes bath completely, again puts dirt all over his body. This is not the right way of atonement because the sinful proclivity is not removed. Shukdev Goswami then gives the atonement by Gyan Kand. He says this is much better. By following tapasya, brahmacharya and all these various rules and regulations, one destroys all the sinful reactions just like the fire destroys everything in the bamboo forest. Parikshit Maharaj says, no, that is there, but still it is not the complete purification. Then Shukdev Goswami describes about the process of bhakti yoga. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agham dhunvanti karsnena niharam iva bhaskaraha. And then Shukdev Goswami describes the glories of the path of bhakti. This is the most auspicious path. Pantha shema akuto bhayam. This is a supremely auspicious path. All the other paths, they do not even come anywhere near to this process of bhakti. And then he describes the glories of the holy name of the Lord. He says, whoever takes to the shelter of the chanting of the names of the Lord, he does not have to see Yamdutas even in the dreams. And to substantiate this, Shukdev Goswami, he narrates the story of Ajamil. One time, in the city of Kanyakubja, there was a Brahmana called Ajamil. He fell down because of the association of a prostitute and he engaged in all sorts of sinful activities. At the age of 80, he had a son 4 years old. He was so very attached to his son. He had named his son as Narayan. He was about to die. He saw Vishnu Yamdutas coming. Out of fear, he started calling Narayan, Narayan. As soon as he chanted Narayan, Vishnu Dutas, they came. And there was a discussion which happened between Vishnu Dutas and Yamdutas. Yamdutas, they were saying, Vishnu Dutas, they asked, why are you taking this innocent person, Ajamil? Yamdutas, they say, do you know who is this person? Whole life he has performed sinful activities. And then they describe so many things about the religion. Yamdutas, they say, people in this world, when they commit sinful activities, they think nobody is watching. But there are 12 witnesses to every action. And living entity is punishable according to the modes he is working under. This Ajamil, although he was such a wonderful Brahmana, ayam hi shruta sampanna shila vritta gunalayaha dhritavrata mridudanta satyavan mantravichuchi. He had all the qualities. He was gunalaya. He was reservoir of good qualities. No, nothing else. But still, one day, he entered the forest to collect wood. He saw a Shudra embracing a prostitute. His mind became absorbed. He tried to take out this impression from his mind, but he could not do so. Ultimately, he ended up marrying that prostitute, and he begot so many children, engaged in all sorts of sinful activities. He lost all his Brahmanical power. Therefore, he is the right candidate to be taken to hell. Vishnu Dutas, they chastise Yamdutas. They say it is so very unfortunate that people who are supposed to be the bearers of religion, they are engaging in irreligious activities. Aho kashtam dharam drisham adharmas prishate sabham. They say, you don't know the glories of the holy name of the Lord? This Ajamil, he has atoned for millions of lives of sin because he has chanted the name of Lord Narayan. Chanting the holy names is more powerful than any prescribed atonement. Anybody chants the name of the Lord in any way, Sanketyam parihasyam va stobham helanameva va vaikuntanam grahanan ashesha aghaharam vidum. Even if somebody chants jokingly or to tease somebody, insult someone neglectfully, for musical entertainment, he gets the benefit. Therefore, the holy name is very, very powerful. Yamdutas were defeated ultimately, and Ajamil, he wanted to speak something to this Vishnu Dutas. He wanted to say thank you. Vishnu Dutas also disappeared. Ajamil could realize he had got second chance. He lamented and he went to Haridwar. He gave up all his family attachments. Ultimately, went back home, back to Godhead. And then Shukdev Goswami glorifies the power of the holy name of the Lord. Briyamano Harer Nama Grinan Putropacharitam Ajamilopi Gadhama Kimuta Shraddaya Grinan. If Ajamil could go to the spiritual world, although he chanted, unknowingly, what to speak of if somebody chants with faith? On the other side, Yamdutas, when they reach Yamraj, Yamloka, they were very angry. How many controllers are there in this world? Kati santi hai sashtaro. We thought you are the supreme. But it seems that there is somebody more powerful than you. There should be only one controller in this world. If there are too many controllers, nobody can give decision in this world. Yamraj, he got the chance for the first time to speak Bhagavatam to Yamdutas. Yamraj starts instructing the Yamdutas. He says, Dharma is that which is enacted by the Supreme Lord. And he describes the power of the religious principles. And he says, there are 12 personalities in the world who know Dharma. You're talking about Dharma, there are 12 personalities who know Dharma. One of them is myself. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlada Janako Bhishma Balirvaya Sakivayam. There are 12 personalities who know Dharma. And then Yamraj glorifies the process of chanting. He says in this world, the devotional service is the foremost activity. It is the foremost religious activity. And you have just seen the power of the names of Lord Narayan. Namocharan Mahatmyam Hare Pashyat Putraka. We've just seen Ajamila. He went to the spiritual world. He became delivered from the Mrityu Pash. So therefore, O Yamdutas, please do not ever go to the devotees of the Lord, because Supreme Lord is personally protecting them. Tanopasidat Hare Gadaya Bhigupta. Supreme Lord is personally carrying club and circumambulating around the devotees. Then Yamraj may say, whom to bring them? Whom to bring them? Whoever does not bow down to the Supreme Lord, bring them. Whoever is not chanting the names, bring them. Whoever is not remembering the Supreme Lord Vishnu, bring them. Don't bring the devotees of the Lord. And then again, Shukdev Goswami ends the discussion by glorifying the name of the Lord. Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnu Jaganamangalamam Hasam. Jagan Mangala. Chanting of the name is all auspicious. It purifies the whole world. So then after this, Parikshit Maharaj inquires about Visarga. He says, you have told about Visarga in brief earlier in the third canto. I want to hear in detail. So Shukdev Goswami describes the birth of Daksha from Prachetas again. And then he describes that, Daksha, he went to perform severe austerities to please the Supreme Lord because he wanted to beget progeny. And he offered beautiful, beautiful prayers called Hamsa Guhya prayers. Lord appeared in front of Daksha, gave him all the benedictions. And Daksha, he begot 10,000 sons called Haryashvas. He sent them to do tapasya. Narad Muni saw these 10,000 sons, they were so very intelligent, naturally inclined towards spiritual activities. He made them renunciants. Daksha, he became so very angry. Again, he begot 1,000 children. Again sent them, they were called Shaulasvas. Narad Muni made them also brahmacharis. Daksha, he became so very furious. And after this, Narad Muni himself went to Daksha. Why he had to go to Daksha after making 11,000 sons of Daksha as renunciants? He was thinking, the whole dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrat, Uttanpad, Dhruva, Prachina Barhi, Prachetas, Haryashvas, Savalasvas, everybody is delivered by me, only this Daksha is remaining. Now he is in a very perfect situation where he can accept this transcendental knowledge. Thinking this, he went to Daksha. But Daksha, he criticized Narad Muni. That is the power of Vaishnava Aparad. In the last life, Daksha offended Lord Shiva. Although he asked forgiveness from Lord Shiva, but the offensive mentality did not go. Again, he offended Narad Muni in so many harsh words. You are a sadhu, you are a sin personified. You don't know how to deal with people. You are devoid of compassion. And then he chastised and criticized Daksha. He cursed Narad. He chastised Narad. He cursed Narad Muni that you will not be able to stay at one place. Then again, on the advice of Brahmaji, Daksha begot 60 daughters. 10 of them were married to Yamaraj. 17 were married to Kashyapa Muni. 27 daughters were married to Moon God, and 2 daughters were married to each Angira, Krishaswa, and Bhuta. The descendants of the daughters of Daksha, they filled the entire world, 3 worlds. And then Shukdev Goswami describes in detail about the descendants of all the daughters of Kashyapa. And then he describes that, Kashyapa, daughters of Daksha. So one of the daughter of Daksha was Aditi. She was married to Kashyapa Muni. And from Aditi, Kashyapa Muni begot 12 Adityas. One of them was Twashta. And Twashta, he begot Vishwarupa. Shukdev Goswami says that this Vishwarupa was accepted as Guru by the Devatas when Brihaspati rejected them. Parikshit Maharaj got a doubt. How is it that, this Brihaspati, he rejected Devatas and they had to take shelter of the Vishwarupa, who was born from a mother who was coming from the side of a demon family? So then Shukdev Goswami describes one day Brihaspati entered the Indra Sabha. Indra was so very absorbed in sense gratification. He did not get up from his seat to offer respects to Brihaspati. Brihaspati understood that Indra has become mad because of the pride. Immediately left that place. Indra, he immediately realized that I have committed an offense. He tried to search for Brihaspati. He could not find Brihaspati. He went with all the Devatas to Brahmaji. Brahmaji told, please go to Vishwarup. Accept him as Guru. All the Devatas, they went to Vishwarup because earlier what happened, because of the offense towards Brihaspati, the demons, they became very powerful. They could understand. They attacked the Devatas. The Devatas, they could not do anything. They went to Brahmaji. Brahmaji, he told them, you please take shelter of Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa, he was having some inclinations towards the demons also. Brahmaji said, please tolerate that. All the devatas headed by Indra, they went to Vishwarupa and pleaded with him. Vishwarupa accepted them, became their guru, and gave Narayana Kavacha. Because of that Narayan Kavacha, Indra became so powerful. He defeated all the devatas, all the demons, again became the ruler of heavenly planets. One day, Indra, he went to the place where Vishwarup was offering oblations in the fire. He was chanting the mantras loudly and offering oblations for the devatas. But he realized that this Vishwarupa is also secretly offering oblations for the demons. He became so angry, he cut off all the three heads of Vishwarupa. Twashta, the father of Vishwarupa, he became so very angry. He performed a sacrifice and he wanted to kill Indra. Because of the offense of killing a Brahmana, Indra became implicated. But on the advice of Brahmaji, he did tapasya and then he distributed his remaining sinful reactions to earth, trees, water, and women class. Twashta, he did a sacrifice, but he did some mistake in pronouncing some mantras. Instead of creating a demon who would kill Indra, he created a demon who would be killed by Indra. That demon was Vritrasur, very, very powerful demon. He started destroying all the devatas. Again, the devatas, they ran to Brahmaji. And Brahmaji and all the devatas, they went to Kshirsagar, offered prayers to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu told them, please don't worry, go to the Dichi, ask for the bones of the Dichi, you make a thunderbolt out of it. All the devatas, they went to the Dichi and the Dichi very happily gave his bones. Indra made Vajra out of it and attacked the demons. A huge, furious battle started between demons and the devatas. Vritrasur, although he was so very, Indra, he was having this thunderbolt, but Vritrasur, he was fighting so very powerfully that at one point of time, Indra, he lost his courage and confidence. Vritrasur, he encouraged Indra, oh Indra, please throw that thunderbolt. You don't have faith in the words of Lord Vishnu. I am supposed to be killed. You please throw that thunderbolt. And then, Indra, he was so very discouraged. He was not even listening. He was not ready to fight. Vritrasur, he started offering prayers to Lord because he wanted to be liberated from this demoniac body. Beautiful, beautiful prayers were spoken by Vritrasur. He says, I want to become servant of the servant of you, my Lord. Aham harer tvabapadaika moolam dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Then he says, I do not want anything, O my Lord, in this world. I do not want heaven or lower planetary systems. I do not want liberation. I just want your service. Just like the small birds, they are eager for their mother to come back. The calf is ready, waiting for the mother cow. I am just waiting to have your mercy. And therefore, please, O my Lord, give me association of your devotees. Again, Vritrasur encouraged Indra, enlightened him, and Indra, he threw that thunderbolt, and ultimately he killed Vritrasur. Acharyas, they say that actually Vritrasur had already left his body before Indra could even kill him. It took 1 year for Indra to cut the head of Vritrasur. Vritrasur was a Brahmana, although born in a demoniac family, but he was son of a Brahmana. He was a demon, but he was son of a Brahmana. Indra became implicated with sinful reactions. And as a result of that, he had to go and stay in the Mansarovar lake for 1,000 years underwater in the subtle fibers of the lotus stem. Ultimately, he became free from the sinful reactions because of constant chanting of the names of the Lord by the mercy of Lakshmi Devi, by the power of Lord Shiva. Parikshit Maharaj he inquired from Shukdev Goswami, how is it that Vritrasur, although he was in the body of demon, he could attain such a great consciousness? Bhakti is so very rare. Muktanam api siddhanam Narayan Parayana Sudurlabha Prashantatma Koteshwapi Mahamune. Bhakti is so very rare. The devotees are so very rare. How is it that Vritrasur became devotee? Shukdev Goswami describes the past life of Vritrasur. In the past life, he was a great king called Chitraketu. He had 1 crore wives. He had no son. He was so very sad. By the mercy of Angira Rishi, he got a son. He named him Harsh Shoka. He had 1 crore wives, only one wife, Kritadyuti, got a son. All the other wives, they became envious because King Chitraketu, he was showing so much affection to Kritadyuti. As a result, they poisoned the child. Chitraketu was lamenting bitterly. Kritadyuti was blaming the Supreme Lord. Ultimately, Narad Muni and Angira Rishi came. They enlightened Chitraketu. They instructed Chitraketu. They brought the son back to life for some time. And small child spoke very strong words. He says, Narad Muni, he told this small child, please see, your father is lamenting, your mother is crying so very bitterly. Why have you left them? The small child, the Jiva, he says, which mother, which father? I have millions of mothers and fathers in my millions of lifetimes. Which father you are talking about? And he gave so many instructions. Chitraketu became enlightened hearing these words. And Narad Muni he instructed Chitraketu to worship Lord Sankarsana. Chitraketu worshipped Lord and just 7 days he got darshan of the Lord. Offers beautiful prayers to the Lord. And ultimately Lord says, O Chitraketu, I give you a position of head of Vidyadharas. You enjoy life and after this you will come back to me. One day, Chitraketu, he was uh, flying in his airplane. He saw a very amusing sight. Lord Shiva, he was giving a discourse to all the sages and Mother Parvati was sitting on his lap. He became very amused and he started laughing seeing this. He did not intend to, criticize Lord Shiva. Mother Parvati, she thought that, oh, this person, he is criticizing my husband. He cursed Chitraketu. Atah papi asam yoni masurim yahi durmate. You go and take birth in the demoniac family. Chitraketu came down and he expressed that I was not intending to criticize him. But whatever you have said, I accept it as the will of the Lord. This is how the nature works. Otherwise, everything is happening in this world, after all, by the laws of nature. Gunapravaha etasmin kah shapa kah anugraha kah swarga narakah kova kim sukham dukkham evava. Everything is happening because of the modes of nature. And then he silently accepted, offered his obeisances and left. Shiva, Lord Shiva, he told Parvati, just see, you have seen the glorious position of the devotees. The devotees of the Lord, they are not fearful in any situation. Narayan para sarve na kutasya na bibhyati swarga apavarga narkeshu api tulyarth darshinah. For them, either heaven or hell or liberation, they are equipoised in any circumstance. And then Shukdev Goswami describes the further descendants of the daughters of Daksha, how Kashyapa Muni begot 12 Adityas from Aditi, and then he begot two sons from Diti. They were Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu, and 49 Maruts. These Maruts, they became Devatas. Indra gave the position of Devatas to these Maruts. Parikshit Maharaj asks, how is it possible that Indra he converted persons born with demoniac mentality into demigods? So Shukdev Goswami says, the Diti, when she heard about the death of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, she became so very sad. She wanted to get a son who will kill Indra. She served Kashyap Muni very nicely. Kashyap Muni was pleased with her. She asked, what do you want? Diti told, I want a son who will kill Indra. Kashyap Muni lamented and he gave a vrata called Pumsavana Vrata. He wanted to rectify the mentality of Diti. He told that you follow this vrata, and because of this vrata, you will get your desire fulfilled. Indra, he could understand this. Diti, she was doing all the rules and regulations very nicely. One day she did some mistake, and Indra, who was acting as a servant of Diti, to find out the fault, one day he found the fault. Diti did not wash her hands after eating, and she slept. Indra entered the womb of Diti. He cut the embryo of Diti into 7. But all of them again became alive. He again cut the 7 into 7. They become 49. All the 49 children in the womb of Diti, they are telling, please don't kill us. We are your brothers. We'll serve you. Indra, he says, okay, if you want to serve me, then I don't have any fear from you. So Diti is sleeping all the while. She is not realizing what is happening in her womb. When she opened her eyes, she saw Indra and 49 children in front of her. Indra explained the whole situation to Diti. Diti, because she performed this Pumsavana Vrata, she was purified. She forgave Indra. And that is the end of the 6th canto. So we'll take just 15-20 minutes and we'll take one more canto. So Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard that, Diti, she said, Lord Vishnu, he has sided with the demigods. He had sided with Indra and he had killed my sons. Parikshit Maharaj asked, how can Lord be partial? Lord is supremely impartial, but how Lord can show partiality? So this 7th canto is called Uti. Uti means inclinations, auspicious and inauspicious inclinations. So in this canto, the supremely auspicious inclination is described by giving the example of Prahlad Maharaj, and inauspicious inclination is described by giving the example of Hiranyakashipu. So Parikshit Maharaj asks, Samam Priyat Surit Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam. Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, then how can he show partiality? Because Lord has supreme personality, supremely blissful form. He has nothing to gain from anybody. How can he show partiality? He has no material qualities. People, they show partiality because they have material qualities. Lord has no material qualities. Why he is partial? So therefore he says, please explain me the reason for this. Shukdev Goswami appreciates the question. He says, your question is connected to Bhagwan, Bhakti and Bhakta. Therefore, it is auspicious for everyone. Actually, Lord is not partial. He is reciprocal. People, they flourish according to the modes they are in. Actually, Lord is always partial. Even in killing demons, Lord is impartial. Lord gives them highest destination. Even Shishupal, he merged in the body of Lord Krishna when he was killed. So when Yudhishthir, you know, uh, when he said, Shukdev Goswami said this, then he said, I'll explain you by citing a conversation which happened between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narada at the Rajasuya Yajna. So in Yudhishthir Maharaj, he saw that Shishupal, when he was killed, he merged in the body of Krishna. He asked Narad Muni, how could envious Shishupal attain Sayujya Mukti? This is even impossible for great transcendentalists. You know, Narad Muni describes the glory of absorption in Krishna. Shishupal was so very absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, so very envious of Krishna. He was always thinking of Krishna. That's how he became liberated. Gopyah kamad bhayat kamso dveshya shaidyadayo nripaha sambandhad vrishnayat snehad yuyam bhaktya vayam vibho. The gopis, they attained Krishna out of lusty desires. Kamsa attained Krishna out of fear. Shishupal attained Krishna out of envy. And the great devotees like you, O Pandavas, they attained Krishna out of love. So therefore, anybody thinks of Krishna in any form, it is beneficial for them. And then Narad Muni describes about the three lives of this Shishupal and Dantavakra. He said, these Shishupal and Dantavakra, they were Jay Vijay. And in for 3 lives, they have become demons. First, they became Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, he was so very envious, cruel. He actually wanted to kill his own son. He tortured Prahlad in many ways. Ultimately, he was killed by Lord Narasimhadev. Then in the second life, they became Ravan and Kumbhakaran. And in this life, they have become Shishupal and Dantavakra. Parikshit Maharaj, when he hears this, when Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he hears, he asks, what was the cause of enmity between Hiranyakashipu and his son Prahlad? Prahlad was such a great devotee of Krishna. How can somebody become envious of him? Narad Muni says, he describes the story of how Hiranyakashipu became envious of Prahlad. He describes that Hiranyakashipu, he was a staunch enemy of Vishnu because Vishnu had killed his brother Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu was very, very angry. And therefore, he devised a whole plan to destroy Lord Vishnu. He told his demons, you destroy all the Brahmanas, all the Yajna, all dharmic activities. If all these are destroyed, Lord Vishnu will be killed, Lord Vishnu will die, and if Lord Vishnu dies, the demigods will die. So Hiranyakashipu, when he heard of his brother's death, he consoled his relatives by telling the story of a king Suyagya. Suyagya, when he was killed in the battle, all his wives were lamenting. Yamraj came and he described this knowledge of soul, how he's not his body, one is soul. And he speaks very nice philosophy to console all the relatives of Hiranyaksha, the wife and the mother. But after speaking such wonderful philosophy, he went to do tapasya. He wanted to become Ajay and Amar. He performed severe tapasya for 60,000 years standing on toes. As a result of that, he became so very powerful. Flames started coming out of his head. All devatas were getting disturbed. They went to Brahma. Brahma told, okay, I'll take care of it. He came, he saw that entire body of Hiranyakashipu was eaten by ants. Only skeleton was standing. He bestowed the benedictions on Hiranyakashipu. He said, what do you want? Hiranyakashipu said, I want to become immortal. But he said, and Brahmaji said, I am also not immortal. So then Hiranyakashipu asked for a series of benedictions. He thought, I will become immortal by this. He said, okay, if you cannot give me benediction of becoming immortal, please give me this benediction that I may not meet death by any living entity created by you. I should not die within and without residence, nor during the daytime or the night time, nor by living nor by dead, nor by demon or the devatas or by entities of the lower planetary systems. Give me sole proprietorship over the entire universe. Brahmaji said, although these are very difficult benedictions, but still I'll give you. Hiranyakashipu, when he received these benedictions, he became so very powerful. He conquered all the directions, and he was residing in the planet of in the heavenly planet, in the palace of Indra, Mahendra Bhavan. He oppressed all the devatas. Everybody was terrorized by Hiranyakashipu. He controlled the laws of nature. He in fact turned the laws of nature. Anybody who would do some sinful activity, they would go to heaven. They would, and those who would do some pious activity, they would go to hell. In spite of having everything, Hiranyakashipu, he was not satisfied. Saitam nirjit kaku bekarat vishayan priyan yathopajosham bhunjano natripyat ajitendriya. Because Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied. He was uncontrolled in his senses. That's why he was dissatisfied. All the devatas, they approached Lord Vishnu. We are suffering. We are being tormented by Hiranyakashipu. Please save us. Lord said, don't worry. When Hiranyakashipu will tease his son, he will try to torture and kill his son. I will appear. I'll kill him. Then Narad Muni describes the wonderful transcendental qualities of Prahlad. Prahlad, he was always absorbed in Krishna. He was as if controlled by Krishna Graha. Nyastra Kridnaka Bala Jadvatan Manastaya Krishna Graha Grihitatma Naveda Jagadidrisham. He was completely absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Yudhishthira asked, how can father be violent to his obedient, respectful, and well behaved son? Narad Muni describes. Prahlad was sent to the Gurukul of Shand and Amarka. After reading for some time, studying for some time there, he came back. Hiranyakashipu asked, oh my son, what do you think is the best thing you have heard? Prahlad Maharaj started speaking about the principles of devotion. You are staying in a deep, dark well of family life. Get out of this. Go to Vrindavan and serve the Lord. Sada samudvigna dhiyam asadgrahat hitmatam patam grihamanda kupam vanam gato yad harimashrayeta. When Hiranyakashipu, he heard, he started laughing. He told Shandanamarka, I think there are some Vaishnavas who are coming in the Gurukul. Please be careful. He sent them back again. Shandanamarka, they asked him, from where you have learned this knowledge? Prahlad said, this is natural for me. Whatever you are teaching, politics and diplomacy, I do not like all this. I have a natural affection for the Lord. Somehow, they taught him for a long time, and then they thought that, okay, now he has come back to senses. Again, they brought him to Hiranyakashipu. Again, Hiranyakashipu, with loving affection, he asked Prahlad, oh Prahlad, please tell me the best of the knowledge which is taught by your teacher. Prahlad Muni was thinking, okay, my teacher is Narad Muni, and what is the best knowledge which he has taught me? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. So he describes the 9 limbs of devotional service. And then he very strongly instructs Hiranyakashipu. He says, you will never get this consciousness because you are so very steeped in the material activities. Unless you smear your body with the dust of the devotees of Lord, there is no hope for you. Hiranyakashipu became very mad, angry. He ordered the soldiers, kill Prahlad. They tried everything to kill Prahlad. They threw him under the feet of the elephants. They put him in the place which was full of snakes. They tried to pierce him. They tried to, kill him by throwing from the cliff. But Prahlad was saved by Supreme Lord always. Hiranyakashipu became very afraid. He thought, now I am going to be killed. Shukrach, the Shanda and Amarka, they said, oh my lord, oh Hiranyakashipu, why you are so very disturbed? He is a small boy. No, we'll teach him, don't worry. When he'll grow, he will come to the senses. And they again brought him back to the school. But to the surprise of the school teachers, Prahlad, he started instructing the schoolmates. Heavy, heavy philosophy. Such a wonderful philosophy. He said, you should start bhakti at the age of 5. Please don't spend your life earning for, uh, aspiring for happiness. The happiness is available everywhere. Don't try to work for getting happiness. Sukhamayendrekam daitya dehinam dehyoginam sarvatra labhyate daivad yatha dukkham mayatnatah. Just like you get distress without endeavoring for it, one gets happiness even if one does not aspire. So therefore, do not waste the life. 100 years of life is wasted either in sleep or in playing or as an invalid. One should take special interest in developing Krishna consciousness. A person who is in family life develops such insatiable family attachments because he hears the sweet voice of his wife, broken words of the children. He is always thinking of his father, mother, daughters, sons, and is like a silkworm which is bound, which is trapped in the cocoon which he has himself made. So therefore, in this way, he was very strongly teaching to all the friends. Prahlad Maharaj's classmates, they asked, from where you have got this knowledge? You're always with us. From when did you go out of the palace to learn all this? Prahlad Maharaj said, I have learned this from my Guru Narad Muni. The schoolmates, the classmates, they say, but you're always with us. When did you learn? So then Prahlad Maharaj tells a story. When my father, he went to do tapasya, the demigods, they attacked. They killed all the demons. They captured, they arrested my mother Kayadhu. And they were taking me. They are taking my mother. Narad Muni, he came and he asked, why have you arrested this innocent lady? The demigods, they told, this lady is carrying the child of Hiranyakashipu. We are planning to keep her in our custody, and when the child is born, we'll kill him and then we'll send her back. Narad Muni told, no, please don't do that. The child in the womb of this lady is a great devotee, Mahabhagavat. All the devatas, they accepted the words of Narad Muni. They circumambulated Kayadhu and they went back. Narad Muni, he instructed Kayadhu. He brought her back to his ashram and instructed her for the whole time when she was there. She decided not to give birth to a child till the time Hiranyakashipu is back. So Prahlad Maharaj said, that's how I heard everything from my teacher Narad Muni. And therefore he concludes the instructions by giving them the knowledge of the soul, and he gives the ultimate instructions on bhakti. And then he says, Lord is not pleased by anything external. Lord is pleased only by devotional service. Therefore, one should make the Supreme Lord as the only goal in life. Etavaneva lokesmin pumsa swartha parasmrita ekant bhaktir govinde yat sarvatra tadikshanam. And to such an extent, the boys were influenced. They started doing Sankirtan. When the teachers they saw this, they understood he is a gone case now. Nothing can happen. They reported to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, he became very mad. He Durvinit Mandatman Kulbheda Karadhama. Hey Durvinit, you are impudent, you are unintelligent, you are disruptor of the family, you are the lowest of the man. Today I'll bring you to Yamraj. I'll send you to Yamraj. Because of my power, the whole world tremble. From where you are getting your power? How are you so fearless? Prahlad, see, he says, I am getting my power from the same source from where you are getting your power from. Hiranyakashipu, he becomes mad. Yas tvaya manda bhagyokto madanyo jagadishwarah kvasau yadisa sarvatra kasmat stambhena drishyate. He says, you are saying there is somebody more powerful than me? If he is everywhere, is he in the pillar also? Prahlad Maharaj says, yes. And then to prove the words of his devotees, Lord Narsimhadev appeared from the pillar. Satyam vidhatum nijabhritya bhashitam vyaptim cha bhuteshu akhileshu chatmanah adrishyatatyadbhutarupam udvahan stambhe sabhayam namrigam namanusham. Not man, not lion. Hiranyakashipu, when he saw this very, very unusual form, he observed the form of the Lord. And then he realized he is Supreme Lord Vishnu who has come to kill me. Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord with his club, then with his sword and the shield. Lord, he captured Hiranyakashipu and he released him, just like the cat plays with the mouse. He was playing with Hiranyakashipu. Ultimately, performing this pastime for a long time, he put Hiranyakashipu on his lap. It was evening time. With his nails, he tore apart the abdomen of Hiranyakashipu and killed him. When all the demons, they saw their master being killed, they attacked. Narsimhadev, he killed all of them just by the tip of the fingernails. All the devatas, they celebrated the victory of Lord Narsimhadev. Narsimhadev was so very angry. Nobody wanted to go near him. Even Lakshmi Devi, she was saying, I have never seen my Lord in this form. Prahlad Maharaj was told by Brahmaji, please, aapke liye aaye hain Bhagwan, please you only pacify him. Very humbly, Prahlad he goes and he expresses his fallen position. Oh my Lord, who am I? If all these great devatas, they could not please you, I am born in a demoniac family. How can I please you? You cannot be pleased by any material, qualifications. So therefore, all the great qualities don't please you. But a person who has a devotion, even if he is born in a low class family, he can please you. Therefore, if somebody offers you something, you don't need anything. The person who is offering gets benefited. And therefore, oh my Lord, I'll offer my prayers as per my ability. Prahlad says, I am not fearful of anybody. I am not fearful of your form. I am fearful of only material existence. He says, devotees' life and duty is to serve his devotees. Therefore, oh my Lord, you are my only shelter. Nobody can protect if you decide to kill him. Nobody can kill if you decide to protect him. All the happiness which a person sees in this world, it is like a mirage in the desert. For a drop of mercy, for a drop of happiness, people are working so very hard. Oh my Lord, please give me benediction. I want to serve Narad Muni. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama bhikama manuya prapatan prasangat kritvatma satsurarshina bhagavan grihita soham katham nu visrije tava bhritya seva. Please, O my Lord, give me service to your devotee Narad Muni. Therefore, I don't want to be liberated alone. Please show mercy so that I can preach this message to everyone. I don't want to get entangled in the family life. What is this family life? It is like the itch which binds a person. The knot in the heart becomes so very powerful, very strong. When Supreme Lord he heard all these beautiful prayers, he became so very happy. He said, "O Prahlad, all glory is unto you. I am pleased with you. Please ask for a boon." You know, Prahlad Maharaj he refused to take any material benedictions. He said, "Oh my Lord, please don't tempt me. I am not a merchant. I have not done bhakti to get something from you. But if you want to give something, please show mercy so that I may not have any material desires." Narsimdev said, "O Prahlad, you will become the king for one Manvantara. You will not be entangled in family life. All the family attachments will not disturb you." Prahlad he prayed for the deliverance of his father. Narsimdev said, "What to speak of your father? Your 21 generations are already delivered. You don't worry about it." You know. And then he gave all the blessings and then Lord left. Brahmaji, he coronated Prahlad as the king, and Shukdev Goswami gives the falashruti of this whole pastime. Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he hears about the story of Prahlad, he thinks, "Oh, Prahlad was so fortunate to see the Lord. We are not so fortunate." Narad Muni again encourages him. Yuyam niloke batabhuri bhaga lokam punana munayo bhiyanti yesham grihana vasatiti sakshat gudham param brahma manushya lingam. Oh Yudhishthir, you are more fortunate than anybody. You are more fortunate than Prahlad, you are more fortunate than me, you are more fortunate than any other person in this world. Supreme Lord is personally residing in your home. Yudhishthir Maharaj asked, why Lord acts as a servant for a materialistic person like me, like us? Narad Muni says, nobody can understand how Lord works. Even Lord Shiva cannot understand. Yudhishthir Maharaj may think, no, Lord Shiva must understand. He is such a great personality. To show the supremacy of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Narad Muni tells a story of how Lord Shiva, when once he wanted to help the demigods and he tried to defeat this Tripurasur, he was not able to do it because Mayadanav revived the demons back and made them more powerful. Lord Krishna has had to help Lord Shiva and then only he could defeat the demons. Yudhishthir Maharaj asked, okay, Prahlad Maharaj was such a great devotee. He got mercy of Lord. What about the general mass? How will they get delivered? So Yudhishthir Maharaj asks about Sanatan Dharma and Varnashram Dharma. So Narad Muni describes about Sanatan Dharma by describing the principles of devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Chasya Smaranam Mahatam Gate Sevejya Vanatirdasyam Sakhyam Matma Samarpanam. This is a similar verse as the famous verse by Prahlad Maharaj. That is the Sanatan Dharma of a living entity. And then Narad Muni answers about the Varnashram Dharma. He describes the symptom of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And then he says Varna is not based on quality, on birth. It is based on qualities. And then he describes about 4 spiritual classes: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanprastha and Sannyas. He describes the qualifications and the characteristics of each order. And he describes about Grihastha later. One day, Prahlad, he was roaming in his kingdom. He found a Avadhuta Brahmana, a person who was lying down on the ground. Although he was lying on the ground, he was looking very fat and stout. Prahlad asked, how are you so looking so very stout and fat? It seems that you are not working, but still you are living very nicely. You are having a healthy body. You appear to be learned, although you are lying down. This Avadhut Brahmana, when he heard sweet words of Prahlad, first of all, he glorified Prahlad for his supreme devotion. and describes that, this material world, the happiness which one gets in this material world is futile. Because of the desires, one keeps on traveling in various species of life. But when one comes to the human form of life, human life is like a junction from where one can attain the highest destination. So therefore, I have left all my family attachments. I have realized the futility of material enjoyment. I have two gurus in my life, a honeybee and a python. From honeybee, I have learnt satisfaction, and from python, I have learnt renunciation. Honeybee is detached. Although honeybee is accumulating so much of honey, but the person comes, the honeybee keeper, he comes and he takes away all the honey. And python, he is completely renounced. Whatever comes on its own, he is satisfied with that. So honeybee teaches renunciation, and the python teaches satisfaction. He says, if I don't get anything, like python, I am unagitated. And then after this, Narad Muni describes the duties of a grihastha. He says how one should deal with the relatives in the family life. Many times relatives will give so many of the suggestions how we have to deal with them. Just, you know, uh, say yes to their proposals. But in the heart, you should be convinced that I don't want to entangle in the family affairs. And then he says one should not be attached so much to the wife, and for that matter, the wife should not be attached to the husband. One should not become greedy. The person who is satisfied is always happy. Therefore, the whole human form of life should be utilized to conquer over the anarthas. How to conquer anarthas? By determination, one should give up lust. And he describes so many other ways how to give up various anarthas. And then he says, to advance in spiritual life, one has to take shelter of a guru, and then only one can understand. And then he describes the process of liberation for a householder. And then he describes there are so many abominable actions one has to give up in the various ashramas. And ultimately, Narad Muni concludes the discussion by describing his own past life as Upabarhana. As Upabarhana, he was a Gandharva. He was materialistic, attached to sense gratification, always surrounded by women. One day, the Prajapatis, they arranged a program for the glorification of Lord Vishnu. They invited him. Instead of singing for the glories of the Lord, he started singing about glorifying the mundane beauty. The Prajapatis, they cursed Narada that you are behaving like a Shudra, you become Shudra. So Narad Muni told that, by the curse of the Prajapatis, I became a son of a maid servant, but by the mercy of the devotees, I got a chance to render devotional service and I perfected my life. So therefore, Narad Muni, in the end, he again glorifies the Pandavas and Yudhishthir Maharaj, and then he ends this discussion. So this is the end of the seventh canto. So up to seventh canto, all the living entities which were generated by the daughters of Daksha, they are described. And then Shukdev Goswami, he has described the various dynasties also. So this is the end of the seventh canto. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions? Or okay, so we'll stop here. Hare Krishna.